As the old Hollywood saying goes, it's poised to collide. Some of us light up a cigarette and then lean back against the headboard, proud that we were able to please our lover, spouse, or one-night stand. How did you like it? All right. You guess as you take a well-earned drag, or are you the type to just roll over? Maybe you leave your bedmate frustrated and not quite ready to sleep. Or maybe you take a quick break, get yourself together, and then start over. Do you hold hands, talk about deep things, or even ask your lover for a favor? Research shows that all of these are common. But what happens to our bodies while we have sex and after? Today on So Now You Know, we're going to find out what happens to your body when you have sex. We'll talk about what happens when a man and a woman have sex with another man or woman. When we say sex, we mean having a sexual encounter, making love, copulation, fornication, or having it off, as the British say. First, let's talk about the man. What does he do at some point while they are making love? Men reach a point where they can't go back. This, sometimes called ejaculatory. Pulse rate and blood pressure will always go up. The sperm leaves him and his penis has contractions. He can now go back to sleeping and let his body relax. Which seems to happen to men faster than to women. The penis gets soft, and most men have to wait a while before they can try again. But it all depends on how old you are, how fit you are, and how much you want to go back to where it all began. Some of us guys just want to go to sleep at this point. Is this just rude or is it something that needs to be done? Well, trundled women, pay attention. Science says it's natural for men to want to sleep, and not just because it's often nighttime and they might be tired. Another reason is that when men get orgasmic, they let out a lot of built-up stress. So do women, and they may also be tired. But research shows that men seem to sleep more after having sex. The way the brain works is another thing. All of these chemicals, like serotonin, oxytocin, norepinephrine vasal, and nitric oxide, leak out of the brain when men ejaculate. Some of these chemicals have to do with feeling upset, and being ready to sleep. This can make men feel weak, and then they want to chill out, just like they would after a hard workout. It's kind of like getting a hit of morphine, and when you have sex, that hit is much stronger than when you masturbate. One doctor says that when chemicals are released, they make you feel very calm, slow down your brain waves and the way your brain works, and make you feel pleasantly tired. But the hormone prolactin, which is released, is thought to be the main reason men want to sleep. It makes you feel good, and the less of it you have, the faster you'll want to do it again. Men who are really happy might just roll over and start to snore. Another thing is that he may need to go to the bathroom. Again, it's because of chemicals. Oxytocin and prolactin have an effect on the kidneys, which makes him want to go to the bathroom. Some experts also think it's a natural need to clean the urethra of bacteria. It could also be that he has been holding it in while he has been fooling around. Then he discovers that the pee won't come out. That is normal, since your internal sphincter muscle closes the bladder when the sperm comes out. This keeps the sperm from getting into the bladder. In a recent article in the magazine Cosmopolitan, it was said that men who want to cuddle are keepers, but men who don't might just be giving in to what their bodies want. After all that contracting, your penis might feel a little sore, but this is normal. Don't worry, it shouldn't last too long, and it's normal for your testicles to have shrunk. A doctor who talked to Men's Health magazine said that when you ejaculate, the cremaster muscle contracts and pulls your testicles closer to your body, making them look smaller. Lastly, your toe might cramp up. Apparently this happens a lot, but it's just because orgasm causes stimulation in the nerves, especially. S1 in the spinal column, and that nerve affects the toes. If you look at some research, it also says some men's moods change dramatically after sex, but given the release of all that tension and all those chemicals flooding out, that's not so surprising. Some men say they can't feel anything after a great orgasm. This is thought to be because they released so much dopamine. It's like coming down from a drug that makes you feel happy or ecstatic. As we will see, the same things can happen to women. So what about postcoital women? Women might not always have an orgasm. According to an article in Psychology Today, which cited a number of studies, around half of women will regularly orgasm during intercourse. About 20% of women don't orgasm very often, 20% do it all the time, and 5% never do. It's not like a man, who gives one big push to the sun. Instead, women have what have been called rapid rhythmic contractions. This can be a big deal, and some women's faces show it, making them look like they've just had an ecstatic experience. These shock waves go through her genitalia, anus, uterus, and pelvis, and her brain will also get a wonderful rush of chemicals. Don't worry if she has female ejaculation, which is when a milky fluid comes out of her urethra. Women, there's nothing wrong with this. But what about when there is a lot of liquid? A neurophysiologist at Rutgers University in Newark says that if a lot of milky stuff comes out, it's not the same milky stuff. In that case, she says it is urine diluted with substances from the female prostate. Scientists are still not clear as to why some women do this and others don't, but it's certainly not harmful. So why do women often want to talk about what they have planned for tomorrow or the meeting of life, while some men are already on their way to La La Land? A study done in the Netherlands in 2005 found that women pay more attention to sex than men do. The only thing on their minds was getting an orgasm. This is because their amygdala and hippocampus, which control how they feel, kind of shut down when they are having sex. Well, at least if they are really into it, when we come back to our bodies, our consciousness resets and our emotional intelligence comes back. Set up an article and make a fuss about this event. But after sex, they switch back, and that's when they get that nice hit of oxytocin, which is sometimes called the cuddle chemical. One study found that people with high levels of testosterone release less of this after having sex, and men usually have high levels. Some women do too. Yes, but maybe not as much. So, men, the next time you turn over, you can blame your lack of oxytocin, and women may never have their factory period. This is the time to rest. Men should get ready for it. Again, note, teenagers may not need much downtime. But on the other hand, these kids are very sexual, so sex doesn't always last that long. Women have more than one orgasm, and most of the time they can just start over. But be careful there, women, because sex can be more painful for you than it can be for men. Oxytocin, a cuddle drug, can cause women's uteruses to cramp up. Let's call that chemical the double-edged sword from now on. The dryness of the vaginal tissues could also cause some burning. But lubrication can help. The stinging doesn't mean there is a problem, but obviously if it persists longer than a day or two, it might be something else. And if men see shrinkage, then women see the opposite in their breasts. According to Women's Health magazine, most women's breasts get bigger after having sex, and in some women, they can get up to 25% bigger. How big the breasts get varies from woman to woman. In the same article, it was also said that when a woman has an orgasm, her clitoris will get very small, almost to the point of disappearing. At the same time, her nipples may become more sensitive, which is normal. According to other reports, some women get giddy after having sex, and others feel very confident because they think their bodies are much more attractive than they were before. Most of the reports we can find say that some women may feel down after having sex, but it's the men who really get depressed, sometimes for a week. But what goes up must come down, as the saying goes, and most of the time it's worth the ride. So, does this video show what really happens to your body when you have sex? Or have we forgotten something? Tell us in the comments below. Check out our other video. Thanks for coming to watch. As always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you next time.